Now in the last video, we wrote the code to only display the posts of the users who the logged user is following. Now that code which we wrote in the last video was just a workaround to that problem. I was still figuring out a way to create that same functionality in a much better way. So I finally figured it out. Now in this video, we're going to write the code to implement the same functionality to display the posts of the users who we are following in a much better way and much more readable way. I'm going to leave both the videos live so that you can compare the difference in the code which we are going to write. Now here I am on the route for get all posts and I have deleted all the code from the try block. I only have these three variables. The first one is the number, it is the page number. The size, so the number of posts we want to send to the front end, and the user ID, the logged in user's ID, which we receive from the middleware in the request object. Now first of all, I'm going to find the logged user. So const logged user await follower model dot find one. We're going to find the user with the user ID. So user ID. So this logged user is going to be an object. If I go to the follower model, it is going to return us this object right here with the user, followers and following. Now I do not want to bring in the followers. We only need the information from the following. So I'm going to add a select method here. I'm going to chain on the method dot select and inside strings minus followers. So it's better to bring only the data which we need. We do not need to do anything with the followers, and save. So after this logged user, I'm going to create a posts variable. Let posts is equals to empty array. And I'm going to add a return statement here. Return res.json posts. So now here we are going to have an if check for the page number. So if number is equals to 1, we also have to take care of the pagination at the same time. And now we're going to have another check here. If logged user dot following dot length is greater than 0. So if logged user dot following dot length is greater than 0, that means the user is following some users. In this case, the posts is going to be await post model dot find. Now in the post model, we have this user property. We're going to find the posts with this user property. So user, and here we are going to use in operator. So in operator is a MongoDB operator and it needs an array to compare the values. So here we're going to add an array, and I'm going to first of all save it to reformat the whole code. So what in operator does is, whatever values we put inside this array for the in operator, it is going to compare it with the user property. So it is automatically going to filter out all the posts whose user is equals to the values we put inside this array. So here I'm going to put user ID. So this basically means that find all the posts in the post model whose user is equals to user ID. Now we also need to find the posts from the users we are following. So to get the IDs of the users who we are following, I'm going to run a map here, logged user dot following dot map following, and from this map I'm going to return following dot user. So the map returns an array. We will have to spread it out. So I'm going to add the spread operator here. So I'm going to go to the follower model again. The following is an array, and inside this we have an object with the user property. So all I did was logged user dot following dot map following iterator and return me the values following dot user. So following dot user, these are the IDs of the users who we are following, and I'm spreading it out because map returns an array. So when we add the spread operator, it is going to automatically add the IDs of the users who we are following inside this in operator. And you can view this in operator as an OR condition. So if post.user is equals to user ID, return me that post. Otherwise, look for the IDs which we are going to pass from this map. It is automatically going to filter out those posts whose IDs match from this in array. And after this, we're still going to chain our limit. So dot limit size, not choose size, and we have the sort created at -1. Let's save it first. And after this sort, we still have to populate. So dot populate user and comments dot user. So these posts are for the condition when logged user dot following dot length is greater than 0. That means the user is following someone. Else, if logged user dot following dot length is equals to 0, that means the user is not following anyone. We're going to return all the posts of the logged in user. So posts is equals to await post model dot find. We're going to find in the post model with the user property, and it is going to be equals to user ID. So find me all the posts in the post model whose user is equals to user ID. This will return us all the posts created by the logged in user. And again, we are going to chain on this method. So I'm going to copy this. So if logged user dot following dot length is greater than 0, we have the in operator. It is automatically going to filter out the posts on the database level. Else, we are finding the posts with the user ID. We are again limiting it and chaining on these methods. Now all of the code which we wrote here is for the condition when page number is equals to 1. So I'm going to add an else block here. Make sure it is for this if condition. We are going to add an skips variable here. So to skip over the posts which we have already sent. So size into number -1. So this skips variable is for skipping over the posts which we have already sent. And now inside this else block, we still have to make the same checks. So I'm going to copy this from here. We still have to check if the logged user dot following dot length is greater than 0. We still have to send in the same data, but only change we are going to make here is we are going to chain a method here dot skip skips. So this will skip over the posts which we have already sent, and we are also going to add it to the else condition here. So all we did was just chain on a method dot skip and pass in the skips. So this is all the code we had to write to implement this functionality to display the posts of the user which we are following. So now you can see comparatively to the last video, the code which we wrote is much more clean, much more readable, and much more concise. So I'm going to explain again what we did here. First of all, we are finding the logged user. We are looking inside the follower model user with the user ID, and I've added a select here because I do not want to bring in the followers. After that, I have created a variable posts and I have added a return statement for this at the end res.json posts. So after that, we are checking if number is equals to 1, if page number is equals to 1 because we have pagination on our front end. And inside the check, we are checking if logged user dot following dot length is greater than 0. That means the user is following anyone. We are looking inside the post model with the user property. Again, the post model, it has a user property. And we have added an in operator here. And the in operator needs at least 2 values to work. Otherwise it won't work. It is going to show you an error in the console. Now inside this array, we are passing the user ID and we are spreading out the values of following.user. We are mapping over the following array and we are returning following.user. So again, if I go to the follower model, following is an array. Inside here, we have an object with the user property. All I'm doing is mapping over the following array and returning following.user. We do not have to convert into strings or anything like that. It will automatically work. And we are spreading it out because map returns an array. We are already inside an array. It is going to give an error. That's why we are spreading it out. It will add all the values of the users, IDs of the users we are following inside this array. And this in will automatically filter out the posts in the post model at the database level. After that, it is the same process, limiting, sorting, population. Else, that means if logged user dot following dot length is equals to 0, then we are finding inside the post model all the posts of the logged in user, and again we are limiting it, sorting, population, and populate comments dot user. And this else block is this condition here: if number is greater than 1, Then we have this skips variable for skipping over the posts which we have already sent. And then again, we have the same process which we did in here. The only change which we made was the skip. We have skipped over the posts which we've already sent to the front end. So I'm sure this is much more readable and much more easy to understand. It took me a while to figure this out, but yeah, I finally got it. So yeah, this is all for this video. I will see you in the next one.